Good morning. My name is Sasha Arafieva. Can you tell me your full name, please?
My name is Khanh.
Can I see your identification, please?
Here.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about your home.
Do you live in a house or in a flat?
So I'm currently living in a flat in a quite densely populated area right near the suburban area of Hanoi. And it's quite a nice neighborhood, I would say.
Right. And which is your favorite room in your house?
I would say definitely my bedroom, since I spend most of my time there, and I have a small recording studio right in my bedroom, so that's quite amazing since I have time to do all of my leisure hobbies there.
How much time do you usually spend in this room?
I would say, of course, like due to the pandemic, I've been staying in my bedroom most of the time, also in my classroom time, so maybe about 12 to 15 hours per day.
So why do you like it?
I would say I like it since it means so much to me, as I have been able to decorate my first bedroom myself, and I think that the vibe is quite minimalistic, which kind of fits my personality well. And also I get to spend a lot of time doing, producing music, which is one of the things I really enjoy.
Let's move on to talk about parks and public spaces.
Are there many parks and public spaces near where you live?
Oh, there's plenty of parks and public places near where I live. I would say it's quite a developed neighborhood, so there are many amenities and services near them, and parks are one of the places where I would say many of the children in my building go to, and we spend a lot of time near the park, especially for hobbies and playing badminton or any type of sports.
Right. And did you often go to a park or public space when you were a child?
I would say not really, since I'm not quite an outdoor person. I prefer to stay indoor, especially with all of my leisure and hobbies activities being indoor activities like dancing or producing music. So that's why I spend most of my time in my room.
What do people like to do in public spaces?
I would say the thing that I would see the most in the streets would be people jogging around for doing practice and exercises in the morning, especially for the elders people in Vietnam. I would say another thing is they like to hang out with their friends, maybe spend time and do a little bit chit chat on a day.
What makes a park or a public space a nice place to be?
I would say the atmosphere is really important, especially the air quality, considering how people usually go outside to get some fresh air. That would be important, especially if they want to blow off some steam, then the atmosphere should be nice. And also, I think it should not be too crowded, especially when people are trying to relax, then those places should be able to be calming more than being very crowded and stressful.
Now, let's talk about flowers.
So, do you like flowers?
Honestly, I do not like flowers, which is kind of weird since I'm a girl.
When was the last time you maybe bought flowers?
I think it was last month, since it's my birthday, so I bought flowers for myself, and the main purpose was to take Instagram pictures with it, since it looks really aesthetic.
Why do people like to decorate places with flowers?
I would say the aesthetic appreciation of flowers are well known, so that's one of the main reasons why people would decorate their houses with flowers. And I think for females in general, they consider flowers as somewhat symbolic, especially they are kind of feminine and very calming in general. So I think being able to decorate your place with flowers, it makes your place more welcoming.
Right.
Now I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you start, you will have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Okay.
So here is some paper and a pencil, and here is your topic. Please don't write on the topic. I'd like you to describe a meal that you enjoyed. All right, remember you have 1 or 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I will tell you when your time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay, so I have not had the opportunity to have as much meals outside as I would like to due to the pandemic and all of the traveling restriction. However, I did have a meal last month since this was my birthday, so it was in December. This was when my application was finished and I have received some of the results from my early decision. And since I got into some of the schools that I really liked, it was really meaningful for this meal to take place right on my birthday. So I invited my family and friends, only the close ones, so there were only about 4 to 5 people in the meal, which is not as many people as I would like, but due to the pandemic, that's how it must work. So there was my best friend at the meal, and she gets along really well with my parents, and that's the reason why I invited her. I would say the meal was really nice, as I really liked the restaurant where we booked. The food was really scrumptious, really delicious, and I think it was meaningful because I have not been to this restaurant since the last time I graduated from my secondary school. And I was able to facilitate quite meaningful conversations with my friends and my family, especially talking about the future and all of my plans for college, since I'm probably going to go abroad in about 6 months period. So I was able to talk a lot with my parents, and I would say it was special since I don't talk to my parents that much due to my awful workload at schools. But yeah, I think it was definitely a memorable meal that I might remember in my following time, especially when I go abroad, I would remember it.
Thank you. Can I have the pencil, paper and booklet back, please? We've been talking about a meal that you enjoyed, and I'd like to ask you some more general questions related to this. Let's talk about celebrations.
So, do people in your country prefer to have celebration meals in homes or in restaurants?
I would see most people go out for their meals, especially since restaurants in Vietnam are quite popular, and eating out is a means of people trying to express their social status, and most people don't cook that well in home, and they would use restaurants as a way to treat themselves. So I think definitely the eating out option is more popular.
Do young people and old people prefer to celebrate occasions in different ways?
Yeah, I would say so. For me and my friends, I would say we prefer to go out and hang out, maybe have a party or do more active activities like swimming or more sporty activities which require more strength. But for elders, I would say they prefer to just sit down and have a nice chit chat with their friends. Maybe they would try to talk about things that happened recently, since they might not be able to meet up as much as me and my friends since we are staying at the same school. So I would say work is one of the main difference. So they don't have that much time, so they try to spend as much time talking to each other and sharing as much memory as possible, compared to us trying to spend the most of our time doing activities that we think would be fun.
Mm-hmm. How do you think celebration meals will change in the future?
I would say, especially now due to COVID, I would say that many people are doing virtual meetings rather than celebrating like in real life. And I think that would be very popular in the future, especially due to people working well, and they might not be able to meet up that often. So I would say maybe virtual way of celebrating things would be more popular in the future.
Now let's talk about the hospitality industry.
Is the hospitality industry important in your country?
I would say it's definitely important, and I think it's a way of showing how tourists and people might perceive your country as, especially in our country, the tourism industry is really popular. Then being able to facilitate those kind of amenities and services to people is important so that they feel that they are at home in our country. I would say it's definitely an aspect that people look a lot to.
Do you think it's a good industry to work in?
Personally, I don't think it would be suitable for me. I would say it might be suitable for other people. I would say it might be suitable or favorable by people based on their personality. For me personally, I'm more of an active person. I like to go outdoor more than serving people or working in those type of environments. However, I think it's a great industry to work in, especially to work on your patience and how to communicate with new people, especially strangers.
And do you think the hospitality industry will grow in your country in the future?
Yeah, I think there is an increasing trend of people trying to work in the hospitality industry. As I mentioned before, the tourism industry is really popular right now. So as there are more tourists coming over to the country, I would say that industry would definitely grow bigger.
Considering sort of the recent COVID pandemic, how do you think that will impact the hospitality industry here?
I would say they would have to be able to work more online rather than offline, since being able to meet each other in real life right now is kind of dangerous, as we could see more of the variants are appearing. But I would say in 5 years' time that might change, since most people would have been vaccinated, and that is the thing that I would say would make the most profound impact on the industry, and the industry might be able to return to their usual in the past.
Right. Thank you very much, and that's the end of the speaking test.
Thank you.
Thank you.
5 star, 5 star, 5 star English, 5 star, 5 star.
5 Star English, một công ty thuộc tập đoàn giáo dục Atlantic